Hey guys, this is Mauisnake here, and today I'm going to be doing a pro player analysis video for xseveN, the unlikely hero of ENCE's major run. During the major and the major qualifier, xseveN was only topped by xseveN for total rating. If you are interested in xseveN, be sure to check out my xseveN video, which I made before the major started, and without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to be going over today xseveN versus Liquid. This was a game that shocked a lot of people, as ENCE came out on top. Hopefully I'm not spoiling anything for anyone. Hopefully you guys already watched the major. But with their pistol round, it's just going to be kind of a simple contact B play. Liquid actually play a 3-man B setup, but this is just a simple play. xseveN's going to be on the entry, and you can see that instead of jumping out the window instantly, he's going to be tasked with going out balcony. Gets one entry on twist, and that's going to be really it for him. Other than that, doesn't really have to do anything. The rest of his team cleans it up. ENCE's strat there was just a single smoke towards window, 2 flashes out. Pretty much the easiest strat you can call for a pistol on this map. And for the rest of this game, xseveN, he's going to be playing kind of the extremity player for ENCE. Unless it's a full sight hit, he's just tasked with holding the B side of things. So, purchases the ump, a little bit of utility, kind of odd to buy a nade instead of a flash, but really, it's not that crazy. Against pistols, likely a save. You can see that xseveN just changing up his spots, trying to keep Liquid honest, making sure that they're not going to aggress too early, not trying to give up too much map control. Maybe he can get himself an easy pick, and he tries to play around this kind of television position. It's kind of a nice kind of off angle, not the easiest shot for anyone peeking him. And then he kind of moves back here. But really, just moves up, notices that Liquid's smoked. He gets fully blind here and ducks himself into the right corner. Notice he stays walked. He doesn't panic and make any noise. And now he should know that no one is to the left, though, because they're going to make that flash play. Probably means they could push through, so he checks the right. And then now he's just going to be creeping up towards B. The rest of his team are making their way towards Catwalk. They get kind of hung up here as the nades and fire come in, and xseveN just kind of hangs out here, keeps the presence for ENCE, makes Liquid maybe think that there's going to be something going on towards B, but still just groups up with his team. Some players in that situation, because ENCE called for a mid-round just swap, or they just switched and went up connector to A. Some players would kind of stay in apartments and sometimes lurk out, try to find a kill, backstab the people that are running out of B. xseveN, he knows that if he just goes with his team and doesn't really try to hunt for frags or anything like that, he will guarantee a victory. In a high-pressure situation such as the major, it's important that everyone is alive for these kind of situations, and really anything can happen, so there's no real reason to just keep prodding apartments. I know a lot of... I've seen a few demos, at least, where the stakes weren't as high, and those kind of plays would involve the guy still pressuring the apartments. So technical pause comes out, and as you can see on the predictions at the top here, a lot of people thought Liquid were going to win this, myself included. So a pretty nice victory, though, for ENCE here. So round begins once again. A lot of nade damage and everything on the ENCE players. xseveN just pushing up pretty quickly this time towards B. Doesn't want to play as passively. Wants to let Liquid know of his presence, keep them honest once again, and that keeps Twist at least over here at the B bomb site. So xseveN now is going to move through lower. The rest of his team has mid control. The only spot that isn't completely accounted for is underpass, and so he just clears that out to make sure that they don't have to really worry about that. I think technically a player could have been in the little cubby in underpass, and he wouldn't have seen them if they ducked their gun in, but he's just going to fall back now with his team. Because Liquid are devoid of any kind of intel towards middle, and they're just going to completely fall off. They're not actually even going to leave one guy there to go for a lurk or anything like that. They know that Liquid don't have the best buy here, and really, they just run the risk of giving up an AK for the most part. Potentially would have... actually, really, they couldn't even given up an SMG because xseveN had it, and they just swapped guns. So flashes come out. Entry begins. Notice xseveN isn't forcing the issue. He's well in tune with his team and their positioning and their pace. So he takes his time coming out of Palace. They wanted to throw more nades once they got out to Tetris. So he just slows things down as well, throwing all his utility to try to stop a play, and now he's just going to be stuck at the firebox position. Not the best spot to be right now, but nonetheless, he still finds a nice headshot on Twist, but once people know you're in this spot, it's very hard to get anything more done. Stewie peeks a little bit early, but Nitro throws a nade, and it's able to clean up xseveN, and that's going to be it for this round. And lose the post plant. Really, xseveN not doing anything too wrong there. Liquid kept them trapped on the bomb site there, and just had too nice of a retake. I'm pretty sure that's the round where Stewie just went through the smoke at connector. And now xseveN going to be coming with his team for a nice 5-man kind of contact A play. This is always kind of like seems like a puggy play, but as you can see here, the power of just numbers can be really helpful. And xseveN, he's just playing back here. Nice spam through the smoke, gets a liege down. But once again, a very tough situation, as Liquid, they're really quite competent in their retakes here. xseveN, he knows that he's trapped here, knows that Liquid should be aware of his position, but swings out, doesn't hit the shot, and falls to Stewie. Nice spray from him, but all in all, doesn't really accomplish all too much. Kind of plays far back. Notice, xseveN has kind of been one of the guys that, when ENCE are going out onto the A bomb site, they have a coordination of like who is going farther, who is staying farther back. We can see that xseveN in the previous round he went to Firebox. That most recent round he stayed at ramp the entire time. It seems like ENCE have a kind of a procedure for who's going farther, who's gonna be going less, like just not as far onto that A site, so that they can kind of just make sure there's no confusion in like what their post-plant situations are going to be. Nice procedures coming out from ENCE, I'd say, even though they lost both of those. Perhaps it's actually, in fact, a little too stagnant. I would think it should be more on the fly, but xseveN tries to go for an aggressive play with the Deagle. Again, trying to keep Liquid honest here. He's just going back to his normal extremity spot towards B. And then makes his way through Underpass. And ENCE, they get a lot of control right here. xseveN, he spots Nitro, and he gets a great headshot. That's an incredible opening pick here, and taking Nitro out allows them to get onto the A bomb site. They know that the bomb is down there. He thinks that he can timing the smoke, but is unable to do so. So, that's going to be it for ENCE in that round, and xseveN. So, ENCE, once again, gearing up for a very quick A play. There's a smoke towards ramp, but ENCE are still lining up. They throw a right-click flash to flash anyone close, and xseveN, once again, he gets the entry there. And good smokes come out for them to support this play. Just kind of a right-side smoke exec. And xseveN, once again, not going all too far out. He's staying pretty close to default. Does eventually move to triple, realizes it's getting a little bit jammed up here. And he runs into a Molotov, but he does find the trade onto Stewart there. Stewart 2000. And once again, ENCE lose a post-plant situation. A lot of their players just kind of staying really far back. I think they do have these procedures for people and where they should be going on these, but it's really odd that they don't just flood towards CT. Usually a right-side smoke exec for ENCE there would lead to most teams trying to take over CT control. They need to get a little bit more map control, but I think because ENCE were just pushed so far back there, and kind of the players that were in the front were supposed to be the ones that are kind of in the back, and the players that are in the back are supposed to be in the front. Whatever it is, it just doesn't seem like they have that secondary objective. They have the great first call, but the way they play the rest of it out is just really just confusing. So ENCE, they find an opening in this round, they take mid control, and just dry walk up connector. This is a pretty crazy explosion onto the site. xseveN, he keeps moving up, knows that he should be able to get an opening kill for his team, so gets flashed into CT, just goes for a single shot, smokes it off, and they will discover that Elige is still hiding in the bomb site. xseveN, he gets spammed through the box there. And now a 4v3 situation unfolds. xseveN still playing really close here, and with 26 HP, this is a really tough spot to be in, but he just makes a nice timing peek there, Nav, while spamming through the box, I think. xseveN just peeks him out, and that's going to be it for them. So, ENCE finally able to get back on the board in this round. So kind of a heavy mid play for the ENCE players. Just a lot of damage towards mid. I don't think xseveN actually does anything this round. I'll try to skip it. Does throw a smoke for window. Then just creeps up. Explode on the flashbang. I think he spotted Stewie there. And I think he should have called that, but Sergey still falls because of it. Stewie, I think, just hit a nice shot there, actually, when we were watching that. And that's going to be it for this round, though. Really not too eventful. Where xseveN really shines is the CT side, I would say, though. So, early, or pretty good spawn for xseveN. He actually sometimes does pick up the op, as you can see here, and Alu just tries to run up. This was, I think, supposed to be a fast A connector split, and xseveN is just going to be posted up top mid with this op. From watching the VOD back, I thought that Alu and xseveN probably traded guns at some point, but in fact, it was just because of the spawn here that he goes for that pick. So, still hangs out here. Molly's off window so that he can push a little bit more forward. Flashes off cat. Still just trying to make a presence towards mid. In fact, he's going to use another nade to smoke off window. So the molly allowed him to scale up. Now flashes off cat. And knows that his team kind of needs something. So he's seen Nitro play this spot a few times. This is probably the nicest entries of the entire game. And just holds for that jump spot. Takes down Nitro. And now he's able to get up here. He does fall as he's getting pinched by Stewie 2K and Liege in just a second. And after missing the shot, it's just too easy for Liege. But a really great entry, and the rest of his team is able to close it out because of that. So, really nice stuff from him. And once again, a really simple play, though, comes out from ENCE. They really like just kind of going A. They sometimes forego all kind of control. And xseveN, nice default here. Doesn't actually get the kill. Sergey hits the shot a little faster than him. But really good off angle. Doesn't even take a single point of damage. Works with his teammate well. Good spacing between both xseveN and Sergey as they move up towards Palace there. Now xseveN scales out, still stays pretty far back here. Just using D, but that's going to be so throws window smoke on for his team. And once again, he's going to be defaulting. That's usually also a pretty hallmark kind of utility usage from extremity players. Usually the apartments, or the B apartments and the Palace player are both going to be throwing the top mid smokes, or the window smokes. And as you can see, xseveN very frequently does not have a smoke in the mid round. Usually he's just going to be using it to try to help his team out, get towards mid, because really, as a B apartments player, there's not too many plays for you to use your smoke. You can smoke off the balcony. Sometimes it's nice to have it for a post plant, but all in all, if the majority of the play is towards middle, there's really no reason for you to have your smoke most of the time. There are some nice cheeky plays you can make with the smoke at B apartments, but xseveN forgoes that in order to just help his team scale. So, middle doesn't go all according to plan, though. xseveN uses a lot of his utility early on, so they don't have too many options here towards B, and goes just for kind of a contact play with between him and Alu here. Just jumps across, hopes that he can bait out a shot. Molly comes out, twist though, right on the balcony, and xseveN doesn't really make the smoke out for him. So Liquid are able to recover there, or they are able to close out a round that should have been theirs all along. So, pressure towards apartments this round. You can see that xseveN is going to be setting up Alu here with a flashbang if Alu so calls for it, but because Alu gets smoked off, he doesn't want to pressure any further, and xseveN doesn't actually throw the flash for him. Could have done a little bit of a flash play, and xseveN, he just falls because really good spam from Twist. He takes a few too many bullets there. So ENCE, it's not really working out for them to go mid. Once again, they're just going to be going towards A. This is more of a 4-1 play, though. Alexi is just making a play towards underpass. I think it's going to be right side smokes once again. xseveN is going to be smoking off jungle for his team, and Alu is smoking off the stairs. xseveN is going to be throwing a nice supporting flash to help get his teammates out, and they're just going to be running out with that one. xseveN pre-firing the bench. Very common for people to try to push through that. And as they try to move forward, he's not able to quite find the trade. So far, I think some of the traits of xseveN here, we'll just look at that smoke, by the way. Very standard lineup for most people. It's like you move right to the side of the trash can, you press D and your jump throw at the same time, and it lands in the window. xseveN really flirting with Twist there. That is a pretty scary fight to take, but I think because he knows that Twist kind of messes smoke up, he tried to look for a one-way there. Doesn't quite find it in the default here. So ENCE going to be going for a very slow default to start things off. But you can see that ENCE kind of mix around with really there's kind of like three styles of play for them on T-side rounds. They either go for the full-on A hits early, they either go for a regular, very standard default where they try to get mid control, or they try to do just kind of a split off the bat. I mean, there aren't too many more T-strats than that, but you're not really seeing too many fakes from ENCE. I'd say in modern Counter-Strike, you don't see a lot of fakes. Usually, most top-level teams will have one or two up their sleeves, but ENCE, they haven't really thrown any B fakes and then end up A or anything like that. On Mirage, this is a map that actually lends itself to getting some pretty nice fakes off, but xseveN now just going to be lurking. Just a really standard 4-1 play from ENCE here, off of the back of a default, and he's just holding for pushes here. It's a little curious that he is being this cautious about what's going on behind him, as his team does in fact need some help. So they are going to push up finally, and with 10 seconds left, just throws a flash for CT, going to scale up to try to defend the bomb, just gets on the site, and really down to the wire there. And because it got planted for Catwalk, xseveN is going to be playing one of the strongest positions he can around jungle here. Timing's Nitro here, really good peek from him. I think that was just meant to be a jiggle, but because he noticed that Nitro wasn't looking his direction, he was able to commit to the fight, and he does in fact win it. So this is pretty much an unlosable situation. Twist is just on the bomb site with a kit and no smoke. xseveN, because he was jungle earlier, Twist thinks he still might be there. And instead, xseveN, he's just going to be playing right underneath the window, and he finds Twist trying to make a play. Or trying to go for a peek there. So, early smoke again, and ENCE, they're going to end the half with a nice, comfy default. This is a great call for the end of halves, given that the opponent's utility isn't all too great, just baiting it out to start the round. Knowing that you won a couple rounds in a row, I think ENCE won just one, but really just 3 alive for Liquid. They're going to be on not a very healthy force buy here to try to end the half. So, ENCE, they just take their time with it. As you can see, the utility levels for Liquid are already very bad. A Liege on a single flashbang, Twist on a flashbang, and there's a couple random decoys in the mix for them, but yeah, just a slow default, kind of a 4-1 play once again. ENCE do seem to like to call this kind of strategy now. xseveN, just last round, kind of the same thing. Just tasked with going towards mid, wins the fight against Nitro. That was a very close fight. And instead of going out towards middle, you can see that he's just going to be going all the way back here through T-spawn, just going to be watching the complete flank. Knows that his team probably has this, still 5 alive, and playing a nice little one and done in case anyone does decide to peek and push towards top mid, but really doesn't have to do anything there at all after that single kill. So, little hallmarks of xseveN's gameplay on the T side. In a 4-1 play towards A, he's usually one of the players that is the one. I mean, he's usually the one. And in the default, he's an extremity player. I mean, these are pretty simple notes, but things you can take away with how he has played. And all in all, pretty solid half. 13-9. Not even too many eco frags, actually. So, those are pretty legitimate kills. xseveN, he definitely really performed incredibly well in this major for ENCE. But you're not really seeing anything too flashy for him. He's not having to make any crazy plays. He's not just destroying people in the default. He's playing to the strategy of ENCE, and it's just working out for him. This round, just a flood, nice strat call from Liquid, and you can see xseveN, he's trying to get back involved, pushes the smoke on Catwalk, but really, there's not much more for him to do here. He just misses a couple shots and then dies. So, heavy mid play for ENCE. Last spawn watches from window as the rest of the players push up, but Liquid just mow them all down in a matter of seconds here. Nice way to get proactive with your USPs on a round like that. If the opposing terrorists don't really just hold their ground, they don't stay honest, you can catch them off guard. xseveN plays a nice angle here towards front sight. This is not very commonly used by a lot of professionals, but xseveN felt pretty confident there. It's just not an angle that a lot of Ts, when they're trying to come out towards apartments, are going to check right away. It's not too hard to jiggle it out, but it gives you room to fall back relatively easily, and you have a lot of options from this spot. You can see that from a position like this, you can either push forward, get underneath the window if you're daring enough. You can move to the left, hold from where he is right now. You can move back. A lot of options from that position, and playing around this is really, I'd say, kind of underrated for a lot of B players. A lot of people like to move around jail, like to play the off angle kind of in the middle of sight, or the little wooden boost. But now he's going to begin jump spotting. And Liquid, they have primed themselves for a nice cat split, but really the AUG, ENCE makes it look so good. Alexi and him just mow him down. He's in a great position to help out Alexi there as they try to push forward. Nice flash supports him, and he's able to get 2 from that one. That one is really, I'd say, off the back of Alexi B. He not only got the 2 kills towards Catwalk, but he also threw the supporting flash that allowed xseveN to jump up there, and that's a really strong play for those 2 players. And xseveN and Alexi B, those are usually the 2est kind of bottom fraggers for this ENCE team, if it's not the major. But they really showed up. And it's one of the reasons I want to profile xseveN, because really a lot of this play looks fairly sustainable, I'd say. Maybe he hits shots a little quicker than he normally does in this, but just a standard B hold from him. Again, likes to play this forward sight angle. Notices that there is nothing coming out of Liquid. This is a re-exec coming out from Liquid. Baits out the counter utility from xseveN, but he's going to get a little antsy. Moves up towards the balcony here. And because he made that single noise, doesn't want to commit to it. But because his teammate throws a nice support smoke, he's able to just line himself up with it and play the van position. Spams quite a few bullets, and Liquid, they actually use that as an opportunity to push out. Long AUG reload, but xseveN now going to be playing the empty pillar position. Swings out wide, swings close, some tight peeks, some wide peeks. He really kind of changes up his movement. It's interesting to see that he changes up. So when xseveN is playing around this position, his first peek he takes is kind of close to the pillar right here to get a single shot off. Then he backs up and wide swings over here. And then before he takes his third peek, he actually moves close. That kind of just can screw with the Liquid crosshair placement just a little bit, the kind of peeks that he's making. Still, he was against pistols, likely would have died if he were against any better weaponry. But just little things to note. I couldn't actually say for certain exactly why he likes to move forward and backwards in that kind of situation. But he does so, and it works out perfectly. This is one of the rare kind of mechanical moments where I'm actually a little bit unsure. I know he wants to take the wide swing there because it would just screw with any T that's going to be holding empty pillar close, because a T would have called empty pillar earlier. But the wide swing is nice just because if they're looking at it, it's going to be hard for them to track him as he just swings out so wide. It's like he took 2 steps away from that pillar. But then he kind of moves close again, which was interesting. So an early team play between him and Alexi B. Boosts up Alexi, but he falls. Now some good utility. And what he uses this utility as is pretty much a wall. He's basically assuming that there's going to be no one pushing that from a Liquid. And so what they do with that wall at B, that smoke, is that they go for a nice little mid play. There's 2 flashes that came out, and with that ENCE, they're able to get a little bit more information, as 3 players were able to peek mid simultaneously from connector, window, and catwalk. And if any unsuspecting terrorist was caught out towards middle, ENCE would have just completely destroyed them. And with that information, they're able to make a nice play towards underpass and rotate over towards A. So they're able to get their best chances here in this round, as there's a player on the flank and 3 players already at the bomb site. X7, he's able to take down Naf, and he doesn't want to overcommit to this as his player is on the flank. This was a little this was a little weird from Aerial, as he just started running in Palace and Elise was able to take him down. And now X7, he tries to win the 1v3, but he walks right into the crosshair of Stewie here. Need some water. Early nade utility. And something also to notice about X7 is that the way he kind of varies the timing with his utility. He doesn't just ever... he rarely ever just throws it all right away. That's rarely ever what you want to do as a B player. This round, he oddly had a weird suspicion that they were going to go B. Actually, it's not all that weird. Ariel and Sergey already pushed towards ramp. They already got the information that there's no one there right away. So he's trying to hold back any kind of Liquid presence. By slowing players down with his utility, he's able to just give his team a little bit more information. Once again, he's going to be playing this forward angle. Really strong spot. Already went over this. But you can see this is just probably his favorite spot to hold on default. It's a really nice off angle, and it can catch people off guard a lot if they're trying to make a nice solo play towards B. So a couple nades going over towards B. That's going to bait out the last of X7's utility. And Liquid, they don't actually even commit with this one. So they're going to move into their little two-man setup once again. Alexi's going to be playing around the pillar there. X7 just going to be watching Catwalk once again. This is the exact same setup that they ran, I think, a few rounds before. But this time around, Alexi has an op, and X7's able to just completely clean up those Liquid players coming out of Catwalk. No flashes from Liquid. Very kind of interesting from them that they decide not to have any more flashes because they really need those against Augs. X7 still continues to get aggressive, wants to really hurt this Liquid economy, and he's going to even swing on Nitro. Doesn't quite get the kill, but it was definitely worth it for him to swing there. So now ENCE are up 11-10, and they only drop a single round throughout the rest of this half. So early utility once again towards B apartments. Just a Molotov, though. Not just going to be tossing everything he's got, but a good nade onto Nitro. Now kind of a deep smoke against him. Actually, it bounces like in a corner there. I'm sure X7 actually is aware of that, and it's able to it's going to be a nice flush smoke actually. And now he's just going to play the balcony position. Really great spot for a one and done. Actually, very frequently you'll end up with 2 kills here. But this is going to be a full-on B hit for Liquid. X7 with just a flashbang here. Going to be trying to peek out in the off angle at balcony. Off of that single shot, he's able to take a little bit of a peek and gets a little spooked there, I think, by the players, and still just throws some spam through. Gets a nice headshot here. It's like the umping Cold Zera as he finds that headshot on Naf. And then he just falls, and then the Liquid players do just fall off of this. But nice hold from X7. That flashbang towards apartments, nothing too tricky. Just left clicks it, and it allows him to get a little bit more space there. Kind of an awkward smoke also ended up in apartments that really held back the Liquid players as well. Alright, so once again, throws the Molotov early. I feel like when X7 has just an ump, he doesn't really feel as confident as other times. So he does like to throw that Molotov early. He likes to, if Liquid were going to be rushing him or something like that, he wants to just soften them up a little bit more than if he had an AUG. It seems like with an AUG, he's a little bit more confident, much more willing to simply just hold it down. Just jump spotting the entire round. This is the round though where Naf gets goes crazy with the 5 kill ace. And X7, he really wants to stay alive for his teammates to rotate in, so he just kind of like baits out some shots from Naf. He almost had the movement to bait out a shot from Naf and not die, but he does give that kill up and allows Liquid onto the bomb site and to win that 5v2. One of the few mistakes from X7 in his entire time holding B on Mirage. other than his game against Windstrike, which wasn't very good for him. But usually a very competent B holder. And now he's trying to play a nice off angle here. This is a really tricky spot. This is not something that most aggressing terrorists are going to try to counter. I think he's trying to get the perfect kind of positioning and spacing for it. He's kind of having some trouble with it, which makes this look really awkward and bad, but he's just trying to get that a little sliver more. Yeah, I think, okay, now he's got it, I think, and now he can see the entire window. I was really having trouble with that. But this is such a strong spot in the default. And as you can see here, he didn't have much utility, but doesn't use any of it early on towards apartments. Just trusts the power of his AUG. Now he's playing a nice off angle at the van position. Both these spots really strong, will usually kill the first player trying to approach if any Liquid members are trying to go for a dry peek, kind of explosion into the B bomb site. Both of those spots would be definitely very good at holding. Just goes for some jump spots there. Gets the signal, though, that there is, in fact, an A play coming out, so he's going to be rotating over. Throws a nice supporting flash onto the A bomb site through that crack, and that's really all he does in that round. Just wanted to show that angle in that round. That was something interesting I noticed before when I watched this. Decides to throw a Molotov early along with a flashbang. Seems like he really expects this to be a B hit for some reason. I'm not sure. You know what? I'm actually not always 100% sure why he does throw the smokes he does. I don't even know if he has perfect reasoning with it for it. It's not like it's a completely logical reason every time, it feels like. Sometimes he just throws them, sometimes he just doesn't. It almost seems like with the AUG, he trusts that more than his AK, the fact that he uses all that utility there. But also, I think he did know that Liquid were probably going to be on a force buy here, and that they might, in fact, like to do a lot of B plays when they are on bad buys like that. Throws his utility forward early on, takes Stewie down to just 18 HP, and their nades just clean him up there. So he's going to be playing this front sight angle once again. Throws a little spam in their direction. Continues to throw some spam. But the hit is going to be going towards A, and xseveN, he doesn't actually have to do anything here. Doesn't really have to do too much in these last rounds, as a matter of fact, though. I think this one actually does do something. So early utility here. They are so close to closing this out, and knowing that Liquid are going to be on force buys, bad buys for the rest of the game, he's going to be using his utility pretty early, thinking that they might just go for an all-in kind of play towards B early on. It's not the case. Actually, he doesn't have to do too much. Oh yeah, Twist takes him out. Okay, so really just going to be playing Catwalk, really strong position to hold, but they have bomb control, so at this point should know that the last player is kind of in this middle or B area, but gets kind of destroyed by Twist on that shot. But that's going to be it for xseveN. Really fundamental, strong player. I'd say a little bit confusing with his utility usage, though. I'm not really sure about his CT side utility usage. Kind of just varies. If anyone knows what the pattern was there, write it in the comments, because I'm actually not sure. This is one of the times where a player is kind of stumping me with their utility usage. A lot of times I can see patterns in what they're doing, but it seems like sometimes he just mollies it. Maybe he mollied it way more than I thought the first time I watched this, but he mollies it pretty frequently every time. Regardless, solid game from xseveN, only topped by Sergey for ADR, I think. But let's take a look at the more stats. 10 enemies flash. Great flasher. Great flasher, great player in the defaults. Good utility damage as well. A lot of that was just playing B. Good kill-death ratio. I think he had the top. Oh, no, Alu beat him, actually. But really sharp player for the B-bomb side. Definitely a player to look at to see just kind of standard play. And T-side, great extremity player as well. Doesn't really need to create anything. Doesn't try to really create anything in a lot of rounds. He's not flashy at all. Kind of the polar opposite of a Stewie 2K type of player who always kind of wants to get something done in the default. xseveN just trusts that his team is going to get things done and doesn't need to overextend himself. And that's what a good fundamental Counter-Strike is. So that's going to be it for xseveN and this pro player analysis. As always, try to just leave a like, subscribe, whatever. If you see this on Reddit, upvote it, please. And be coming out with a couple more of these this week. Be sure to see some more content. And Really, as always, being toxic is a choice.